Are we working? Hello? Hello? Are we good now? Are we good now? Can you hear me? Let's be sure. Can you hear me now? All right, okay, we cool. Okay, dang it, one of my plugs fell out. Well, doggone it, since that's the case, let's try this again, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody around the world, hello and welcome to the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube and every podcasting platform here imaginable, the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise. Hey, clap it up. Get excited wherever you are. We're back yet again with another action-packed episode for you today, covering the world of boxing, sports, and beyond, all with you along for the ride. We're here on Thursday. We got so much stuff to cover in a small amount of time to do. We got to break down Boots versus Stanionis, who I think is going to win that fight, your reactions or who you feel is going to win that fight, how it's going to go, what can be next, all that, and we're going to talk about with Boots and Stanionis. Also, we got to talk about taking and what seems to be confirmed that he was going to fight Jake Paul, as from Jake Paul's own mouth, and what this means for potential the rematch with Tank and Lamont Roach, the aftermath, what that could actually be, as well as we got to cover Luka and his dominant. I mean dominant. There we go. Try to elevate the volume. But yeah, 45-point revenge game against the Dallas Mavericks, clinching their spot in the playoffs. And now, with the playoff landscape being more complete with only a couple games left in the year, what do we expect to see coming out of the Western Conference? And with the East, is there anybody that can actually challenge the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics outside of those two teams against each other? All that and much more is going to be right here on the show. We thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you would, leave a like on the stream. Comment your thoughts and opinions on whatever you want to discuss in the chat down below. Subscribe to the channel and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. All thanks to you and your support. Again, we get some subscribers every single day, every single week. People are staying longer and longer when we have this show. So, hey, they liking what we see. They liking what we giving. So we're going to keep giving it the best that we got. No question about it. So we appreciate you tuning in. But, almost forgot. Every podcasting platform, we're available. Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us, and we'll get there absolutely. And that way you can listen back to the show wherever you are on whatever device. So we're glad to see it. Thank you so much. But with all that being said, we got a bunch of stuff to cover in a small amount of time. So let's jump into the world of sports and the world of boxing. It's showtime. You all going right. Trip G. Also, Trip G, what's good with you? How you doing? Appreciate you tuning in to the show. No question about it. We love it, and we appreciate anybody else coming into the chat. Hey, you say something, we can put it up on here, and you can have your voice seen throughout the match. But with all that being said, let's jump into the show. Let's jump into the action. Let's get into the world of boxing first and foremost. And since we're talking about boxing, it's time to step into the ring. Yeah, buddy, that's right. Everybody ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway as we got to talk about Boots versus Stanionis. That's right. One of the hottest stars, one of the most athletically gifted stars in the world of boxing. The current king of 147, Jaron Ennis, makes his return to unify the belts at the 154-pound division with Amata Stanionis in what looks to be a very action-packed and exciting affair that, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest testing ground for Boots yet to date in his career, to show me exactly what he is as a boxer. But with this fight, who do I think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win? I'll give you my breakdown as to why. But we got some people jumping into the chat right now. Yo, what's good with you? Jay Will, what's good? How you doing? Appreciate you coming through. Justin Kemp, thanks so much for tuning in to the show. We here, we live. Welcome back. Everybody, welcome back. We'll appreciate it. And again, share the show with everybody. Keep getting people back in here on the stream, on the chat. And to keep on, having your voice being heard. But right now, we're talking and breaking down Boots versus Stanionis, how that fight's going to go. Rusty Cage, good to see you back in the chat. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Leave a like if you would on the stream while you're here, if you don't mind. But Let's break down this fight. Again, with Boots undefeated, one of the hottest stars in boxing today, looking to unify the belts against Stanionis. And this is a fight that's going to really be, like I said before, the biggest proving ground. Why is it going to be the biggest proving ground? Because if you are new to the show, or to keep with the timeline of how we've been covering his career, the last two fights with Boots have been very shaky in their production. Let's be completely honest. Yes, he got knockouts. Yes, he still won handedly, but it was even in those wins similar, not nearly as egregious, but similar to what we said with Edgar Berlanga during all those wins that he had earlier in his career. It has been laden with a lot of issues that we have to say, hey, stuff needs to be fixed. Specifically, the reliance on his chin that he has had for the majority of his most recent fights. When he fought against Shukajan the second time, what happened? The brother was eating shots left, right, and center. He was. Shukajan gave him good work in that second fight, though, again, Boots did in fact win, and he was indeed a better fighter. It was still eating too many clean shots, eating too many big shots, and if we saw Shukajan have some power, it could have been some real concern. Same thing with David Avenizin. Though he did only get landed on at a similar rate to the likes of Terrence Crawford, which was true. The difference with that fight was the severity of the shots that were landed from Terrence Crawford by David Avenizin versus on Boots Ennis by David Avenizin, which is one of my biggest concerns. His ability to be able to have a good chin, hey, is great. Showed against Roman Villa. Also, well, I believe 2 years ago. We know he has a chin, but it's the fact that his reliance on his chin with what we know of him being a great instinctual fighter, having some of the best instincts and athletic ability that the whole boxing world has seen. Genuine. Speed, power, reaction time, ability to read and react, adapt, and essentially move almost outside of his own will. His body automatically making the adjustment. We know he's got that, but the issue has been defensive fundamental soundness. Again, similar to Jaron Boots Ennis. The show defense rather than the more concrete, locked in, effective defense. Doesn't make it so that you are doing a bunch of different looks. Maybe sometimes it's only one or two looks, one or two types of guards, but they work flawlessly because now you are indeed picking off all the shots coming your way. Now going up against somebody like Stanionis, though Boots is 33-0, 29 KOs, he's not going up against just a scrub. This was going up against Stanionis, who is 15-0 in his career. Currently, I believe 9 KOs on his resume. And this is going to be a situation where when we look at Iemontas, this is a very aggressive fighter. Hence why this fight can legitimately be dangerous. But hold on, before I go even continue, let me see what people had to say in the chat before. Boots was looking drained. Yeah, he was. I'm going to touch on that. He was looking drained in some of the pre-fight pictures that they're having for the fight. And I believe they're having their weigh-in. Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. I believe it's Friday. If it's not today, it's Friday, most likely. I think they got a press conference. I could be wrong. But regardless of which, when we look at this, I'm going to touch on it because that is one of the biggest things that can also be a concern for this fight. But also, lucky for him, it's a unification, so no IBF rehydration clause. That is another good thing, which will make it so, hey, he can get back to the full physical strength, or what we hopefully will be the full physical strength that we know he can have. This is why I wanted to move up to 154. Remember, we had that conversation. Did he not say that he wanted to move up to 154 to fight Virgil Ortiz, and then all of a sudden backed out? We called that a duck on this channel because you said you were going to do something. You said you were too small for this division. You said you looked bad because you needed to move up, and then you stayed when Virgil Ortiz was right there ready to give you an opportunity. That's a problem. We all called it out. So now, if he is indeed still weight drained, this is in part of his own fault, because he didn't keep to what he initially said. Now, I'm glad he's staying because he said he wants to be unified. In fact, recently he said he wanted to be undisputed in 4 different weight classes. That's 147, 154, 160, and 168. So he said that. Now, if he's trying to do that, okay, cool. I respect it. We'll love to see if it happens. But we can't overlook what was previously said about what he wanted to do or his goal in the fight. So, if he is weight drained, while we appreciate the looking to become unified, undisputed, all that stuff, we don't forget what you said initially. And so if something does go wrong, we can't just say, oh, you were too small because you wanted to stay there. And so that's on you at that point. But let me see. El Pinchy, what you got going on? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you joining in on the live. Let's see what you got to say. I'm excited about this fight. Hopefully it lives up to expectations after last week's duds. Yes, it does. And again, it's going to be an incredibly impactful firefight. Guys get inside easily on Boots, fairly easy. Lipinets got in on Boots and at will, just didn't have the power to hurt him. No question about it. And also, hold on, J Riggs, you're back. Oh, wait a minute. J Riggs, you're back. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks so much for coming back on the live. Hey, glad that you can make it. Again, I don't know why I'm clicking on your stuff. It ain't popping up, but regardless of which, let me read off what you guys. I finally got on. Is that on? Yeah. I finally got to get on during a lunch break. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you tuning in. But again, let's break down the fight. Let me see. El Pinchy, real quick, what you had to say. Boots rather suffer making weight than move up to 154. Them killers at 154, I feel. Absolutely, that could be a conversation. Oh, no question. But, mind you, it's a different conversation. We'll get into that, but we got to cover the fight that's happening this Saturday first. So let's break down what Stanionis can bring to the table. As we saw with the likes of Jay Will, who brought up a great point, we do see fighters easily be able to get in on the inside. And here's the thing, it's not just because Boots, or rather, it's not just because Boots is a bad defensive fighter. No. It's because Boots loves the fight. At least from the last two affairs. It's been, he'll let you get on the inside because he wants you on the inside. He does he's not a boxer that wants to keep you at range, at his best. He wants to show his physical presence. He wants to show his physical power. He can use his jab. And that's the frustrating thing about Boots. He can use everything that we say he has as a great tool in his tool belt. He can have a great jab. He can use great footwork to keep you at bay. He can make it so that he can box you on the outside and be slick and deceptive and be something that is hard to hit and hard to track. He can use the whole of the ring. He can be a boxer puncher. He can be a counter puncher. He can be everything that you want him to be. But the issue is he wants to be in that fire, especially if he feels he can get you. When Lipinets, if he had pop, could have done some damage. Sugar John, if he had pop, could have done some damage. David Avenesian, if he had some pop, could have done some damage. Genuine. And he had better success against Crawford. He had better success against Boots than he did against Crawford. And it's not just because of the level of fighter. It's because of the way that Boots wants to fight. He wants to show his mettle, show his physical presence. And if he doesn't believe that you ain't got no pop, he won't bother trying to avoid anything. Again, instinctually, he'll turn his head, he'll slip, he'll get out the way. Yes, he will. But in terms of consistency, it won't be like that if he feels you can't really do anything to him. If anything, he'll be annoyed that you're landing on him rather than worried that you're going to do any real damage to him. And since that's the case, that could be the biggest mistake going up against Stanionis. It really could. That could be the biggest problem when he goes up against Stanionis, because when he fights against Stanionis, now you're dealing with the brother who, genuinely, he may have enough pop to make you have to worry. Again, 15 fights, 9 KOs, 60% knockout ratio, if you want to go percentage-wise, is still somebody who isn't just a pushover when it comes to power. Is also aggressive, wants to throw in volume, and sits in the pocket and is deceptively a very good pinpoint puncher. Genuine. He is. In terms of picking his shots and getting the open space. He's got it. He does. And it's not something that is just, a one fight here or there. He'll show some elevated levels and then boom. Nah, it's nothing. No, he's legit. He's for real. Is he better than Boots? In my opinion, no. But is he still somebody who can make Boots genuinely have to worry? Oh, yes, he is. No question about it. Also, MS, what's good with you? How you doing? Appreciate you tuning in on the show. Thanks so much. If you would leave a like on the stream since you're here already. But with Stanionis, because Stanionis loves to be inside the pocket, and it is easy to get in the pocket with Boots because Boots doesn't use his tools to keep you at bay or keep you on the outside, though we know he can. And he wants it to be a fight. Also, this could be the situation where Boots underestimates Stanionis. He underestimates the actual pop that Stanionis has on his punches. He underestimates the timing that Stanionis has when he is fighting on the inside. Again, Stanionis isn't just a person that loves to throw in volume. This is a man who also is able to time you on the inside with hooks, with uppercuts. I'm not saying it's something that is all of a sudden, elite world level. But this is a situation where this champion is not just a champion in the sense of it's a fluke. This is legitimate. It's real. And because it's real, Boots cannot be afforded an opportunity to be lax in his defensive ability. Because if he is, he's going to get time. And he can potentially get hurt. And this time, it's not just good shot, sweat flying, but then nothing comes of it. No, that's not this fight. Not against Stanionis. This could be a real trouble situation. Who Stanionis can have the ability to punch on the inside or punch with you, trade with you, and be successful. Take chances when Boots opens up and have success and land on the chin, on the top of the head, shoot on the temple. Because he also got the arm length, he's also got the reach to be able to get you. When he punches, and if he loops that punch around, he's able to sharpen it up quick, though it can have a long, wide arch. And so that can make it so that he can catch you bad in multiple different circumstances. If Boots is not indeed defensively responsible. If he is, okay, great, he takes this fight. No question. And I can see this fight by knockout. Though he hasn't been able to knock out Shukajan. And I think Stanionis has at least as good of a chin as him, if not better, in my humble estimation. Did knock out David Evanezy. Yes, understandable. But at minimum, I can see this going to a unanimous decision. At worst, we could genuinely see this brother rocked and potentially caught and knocked out. Not because of a puncher's chance, but because of his inability to be properly defensively responsible. But if everything goes like it's supposed to go, he fixes his defense. He looks to actually be alert at all times. He doesn't take Stanionis' power for granted. He takes everything legitimate and fights as such. Oh yeah, this can be a dominating affair. One-sided affair on the side of Boots, and we can see a legitimate great victory, a great win, a phenomenal fight that shows the full breadth, or at least close to the full breadth of what Boots can be as a fighter, which is what I want, which is what we all would love to see. But don't be fooled. This ain't a fight that's just a given. Nuh-uh. No, sir. This is the most dangerous fight that Boots has had in his career. Not just because it's a champion, because of the stylistic type of fighter that this is and the flaws that Boots has in his game defensively. There is an upset that can brew in front of everybody's eyes at the drop of a hat. It can happen. No question. Do I think it'll happen? No. I think we're going to see Boots by knockout. Probably in the 9th round. But if it doesn't, don't be surprised if we see a situation where at the end of this fight, even in a win, Boots and the conversation surrounding him starts to change into this man's an athletic freak of nature, into this man may not be what we thought he could be. Don't be surprised if that's the case. But let me see what you all had to say. Boots never been tested. And Stanionis is going to test that chin, in my opinion. Even Virgil dodged the bullet with all risk, no reward. Stanionis, see, that is a good point. And so Stanionis he's gotten respect from multiple great fighters for a reason. This is 15 wins. Normally for people isn't something that is highly touted. In this situation it is because of who this brother is. This man's real. He is real. Genuine. Let's see. Rusty Cage, well, if he's not worried about getting knocked out, he has to be worried about getting outpointed. That's a genuine thing. And now, it is true, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. And it's not because, excuse me, let me rephrase it. This is an option, absolutely. But I think every Boots fight that we've seen, it's never been the standpoint of he is lacking on activity. It's the standpoint of he's lacking in urgency. Or at least of the last 2 to 3 fights. It's been he's lacking urgency in being alert. That's the thing. So I'm not worried about him getting outpointed. Because when he wants to ramp it up, he'll ramp it up, no question. But the problem is he has no urgency at times. He gets lazy at times. He becomes somebody who doesn't want, or rather doesn't care, or feel the need to do anything properly from the standpoint of defensive responsibility. Offensively, I have no problem. Because we've seen what he can be offensively. I'm not worried. When he wants to ramp it up, go for the kill, all that stuff, open up and do damage, we know what he can do. I don't ever see him being outpointed just off of sheer activity, because he can match anybody's activity. It is on the flip side, the defensive end of the spectrum. He acts at times as if he doesn't care. And because he acts like he doesn't care, then he can get caught. It's just nobody's been able to do it yet. Or rather, people have been able to do it. It's just the fact that it wasn't enough to shake him up. Which shows, hey, you got to have a certain level of power to make Boots look at you differently. Which, credit to him. Another one of the physical traits that we love about Boots. But at the same time, just like with Joe Joyce, if you rely on that so much at that point in time, somebody's going to get you. And when somebody gets you, what you going to do? That's what we don't want to see happen. But we may well see it happen, genuine. Boots is building his profile here in the Northeast with Philadelphia and now Atlantic City. An impressive performance from Boots would be great for his continuing build and his fandom. No question about it. Absolutely. Especially for a unified title. This would be big for the cachet of Boots. Because you got to understand, since Crawford left the division, and since Spence hasn't been back ever, 147 ain't been as popping as it nearly was. And Sean Porter retired. Danny Garcia looks outright. I don't know when he's coming back. He ain't even fighting in this division. Ugas ain't been back in who knows how long. It's been kind of dry. He's been one of the biggest bright spots from a star power standpoint to the division. If he wins this, hey, this would be great and potentially jumpstart kind of the look or spotlight on the whole of 147. Potentially maybe help uncover some new stars that maybe I'm not even known about. But if he does pull this off in spectacular fashion, it'll be great. No question about it. Has Boots ever fought in the back foot? He has. It hasn't been often, but he has. And he can. It's just the issue is when Boots fights on the back foot, it's normal. Now, I could be wrong. But normally what I've seen when he fights on the back foot, it's been because his opponent is really, really pressuring him. But the way that he fights on the back foot is almost like it's, again, annoyance rather than just, doing everything properly. He can do it. He definitely can. Oh, no question about it. It's just the fact that he takes it lazily, which is it's a big word that lingers over the career of Boots. Laziness. Not because we're calling him lazy as, oh, he just doesn't care about being a fighter. But because aspects of his game are lazy when he feels it's nothing to be concerned about. And that can always be a big detrimental hit for anybody. And so we just don't want to see that happen. Also, yo, Trey, what's good with you? How you doing? Nerd, what's up with you? How you doing also? Appreciate you tuning into the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Leave a like on the stream if you would. Help push this to the algorithm as a whole. Get everybody invested in what we got going on right here on the Welch Report with me, Jean-Louis Welch. We come on here every Tuesday and Thursday to talk about the world of boxing, basketball, and beyond with you beautiful people, listeners and viewers alike. Whether you're watching on TV, on your phone, in your car, on your job, tell your boss to come in and listen to the show. You might get a raise for all you know. You never know what can happen right here on the Welch Report. You don't want to miss it. I'm telling you, we're growing and flourishing and thriving. It's all thanks to you and your support. But let's see. Boots is Broner 2.0. Now, I don't want to go that far. I don't want to go that far because I think he's leagues better. But from the standpoint of he can sabotage his own rise. That is true. I see it, but not from the standpoint of talent, because I think Boots is leagues better than the likes of Adrian Broner. Leagues better. But I think it is the almost self-destruction, not outside the ring, but inside the ring. I think is what can make that sentiment absolutely true. I don't want to see it happen. Good gosh, no. Please don't. Don't let this type of talent pass me by to where it all of a sudden lowers expectation. Please, good gosh, don't make that happen. But it is a possibility. No question. If that may be a better match than Roach versus Davis, it'll be more action-packed. From the standpoint of, well, no, it could be better. It could be a better fight. Start to finish, it could be a better fight. I think so. In terms of like high technical ability, most likely Boots and Roach will be better. And the risk of, oh, shoot, based on what we know now context-wise, that'll be more enthralling. But no, this could be more exciting. It very well could be. It very well could be. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong about that, Trey. You ain't wrong about that at all. Boots gets hit too much against Uber drivers. Can you imagine the aggressiveness from Stanionis? That's the biggest concern. Boots kind of gives me Jaron Anderson vibes in terms of seeming to have none of the passion. And to a degree, that's true. I've said that it's similar, but it's a little bit different. When I say Boots is comparative to Jaron Anderson, it's not from the standpoint of personal passion, but it's from the standpoint of defensive mess. Again, show defense that looks flashy, that looks creative, that looks slick, absolutely. But ultimately doesn't amount to anything because you still get hit and caught with the shots that all of that movement didn't make you avoid. Versus quality defense, which it may not look nearly as flashy, but you ain't getting touched. There's a difference. Jaron Anderson's got show defense. Boots, in his last 2 fights, has shown show defense. Where the effectiveness versus the look, it ain't the same. And that's where those similarities lie. From the personal drive, it's completely different. Jaron Anderson, yeah, he lost the spark. Boots, he just said he wants to reign as I believe it was him that was said. He wants to reign as a 4-time unified or undisputed champion. So he's got the drive to be in the ring, unlike with Jaron Anderson. But the issue is now, inside of the ring, can you be responsible like you're supposed to be? Unlike Jaron Anderson. That's where I have my line of demarcation. Let's see, Angry Mexican, what's going on with you? How you doing? Appreciate you tuning in to the show. What you got to say? When Boots is when is Boots going to come fight Virgil Ortiz? Boots has brought up 154 in the past, but still he wants to play in the sandbox. And I think, in fact, I'll answer this question right afterwards. Let me go and look at the rest of the comments real quick. I want to see Boots versus Magic Salas. And so here's the trend, or let me paint you the picture of what happened so you can get the full timeline, so you understand what's going on. Let me see. Also, my fault. I insulted Broner because at least he was a 4-weight champion and he never ducked anybody. I take that back. And again, it's what you said wasn't disrespect. An angry Mexican, I'm about to answer your question. Just stay right here. But let me get to Nerd first. Nerd, what you said wasn't disrespect. Adrian Broner 2.0 was a product of self-destruction outside of the ring and inside the ring. Boots was somebody who we see the potential, just like with Adrian Broner. And we know, like with Broner, brother, the success is going to beat it. And he's going to face off against anybody. At least as of right now, that is the current, or outside of Virgil Ortiz, who has kind of changed that little bit of perception. On the whole, majority of people feel, yeah, Boots is ready to take on anybody and everybody. You didn't insult Broner by saying Broner 2.0. There's a parallel because there is the end result of you could have been more can still be the same. Broner was a 4 division champion, absolutely. He could have been more. He could have kept on fighting. Shoot, he should still be fighting on a more competitive level to this day with how his fighting style was. He could and should. He should still be, or he should be, seen in a lot different light than he is right now in his career. But because of what he did, again, self-sabotage, is why he turned into what we see him as now. When it comes to the likes of Jaron has the ability to eclipse everything that Broner did. He's got that talent. Like I said, we're comparing him to Roy Jones Jr. from an athletic and natural, raw, gifted ability. But the issue is his passion is there. His drive is there. Everything outside of the ring is not a problem, based on what I know. Everything in the gym is not a problem, based on what I know. In the ring, half of the stuff is great, the offensive ability and all that. But the other half that he continues to seemingly just gloss over, which is the defensive aspect. Again, being lazy at times on that front. And his inability to stay focused on that end of the spectrum can still garner the same self-sabotage as we see with Adrian Broner. Maybe not to as much of a volatile, crazy degree, but it can still happen. Because if Adrian Broner lived up to his hype as a whole, we probably would be talking about him as one of the best of a past generation. On the whole. As one of the leaders of that generation in boxing. Genuine. But because now what happened, you see where he is. With Boots, I don't want that same thing to happen due to in-ring laziness on the defensive end of the spectrum. And so you're not wrong. And so it's not a disrespectful comparison. It's a comparison of what could be the end road if we see Boots still being like Boots is now. And so that's the thing. But real quick, J-Biggs, I'm going to get to you, but I promised I was going to answer Angry Mexican's question. So let me answer your question right now of how all of this transpired with Boots at 154 and 147. Boots fought Shukajan. Boots beat Shukajan. Boots struggled against Shukajan more than he did the first time. Boots said it was because he was at 147 and he needed to move up. Boots was then set to move up and fight Virgil Ortiz. We were all excited. It was going to happen. And all of a sudden, Boots changes his mind and said he's going back down to 147 after saying he needed to move up to 154. Then he said he's staying at 154 only to unify and become undisputed. So on this show, we said you ducked the opportunity to fight the likes of Virgil Ortiz when it all made sense that you should have fought. If you are indeed staying at 147 to unify, okay, we're cool with that because you're attempting to do what we want you to do as a warrior. Go and clean out the division. Absolutely. But if you then go and keep on being wishy-washy in what you want to do and what you need to do, we're going to have a problem. And so that's where all of this lies. We expect that sooner rather than later, he's going to go and fight Virgil Ortiz. We expect it to, especially if he looks weight drained like he does right now. But if he does not, and then after Stanionis doesn't go and try to keep to his word, which is what we were all mad about him about the first time, then we will have a major problem with Boots Ennis. A incredibly major problem if he does not keep his word of what he said he wanted to do. So that's the timeline of why he's at 147. Only because he said he wanted to unify and become undisputed. If he does ever deviate from that trend, we call it out and we say it's a problem. No question. Because if you're not fighting for all 4 belts, there is no point in you being at 147 anymore. If by your own volition you're struggling with your weight. If you ever deviate from fighting any of the top champions, I don't want to tune up. I don't want anything except for belt, then you're gone. That's it. If you do anything else other than that, it's a problem. It's a problem in our eyes as a boxing fan. Let's see, who had a better career, Broner or Fernando? Oh, that's a good question. Broner or Fernando Vargas? Well, I got to think about that. That's a good question. I got to think about that. I might have to come back to you on that one. And then, J-Rick, you say Vargas is, Vargas had a more sustained career. But Broner at the heights was, I want to say Vargas too. I probably would have to say Vargas. I probably would have to say Vargas most likely. I probably would have to say Vargas. Broner could have exceeded it, but I probably had to say Vargas as well, the more I think about it. But let's see. From the Stanionis camp, he looks like he's hungry to pull off an upset round 6. Also, you're saying it's going to be round 6 KO. It could be possible. It could be possible. Again, if the way I see Stanionis potentially getting knocked out would be if we saw Stanionis land the same shots that we saw Shukajan land on Boots. And that's about how I see this fight going. I'm being completely serious. The second fight that we saw with Shukajan, that looks to be a precursor to what we're going to see with this fight with Stanionis. Because remember, the biggest thing I said about why Shukajan lost the first fight was because he wasn't active enough. He didn't throw enough. But if he had thrown some more, it could have been a completely different story. In the second fight, he gave Boots, regardless of whether Boots felt anything or not, he gave Boots all he could handle. Because he went and upped the ante, upped the pressure, stayed inside the pocket, and put himself at risk to land shots. And we see what that performance was, a great performance. Now with Stanionis, we can see that brother do it. We can see him genuinely go through and continue the work of Shukajan, but do it better, which could lead to, especially with more power, which could lead to a legitimate upset. Now, it's probably going to be more than just round. It probably would have to be later because of what we've seen Boots' chin show to be as of right now. Because that's been one of the biggest things that he's relied on in his career thus far. But that still doesn't change. It could still, time goes through and time can be tested. And at some point in time, as the rock continues to get hit, more cracks come into play. And it can only hold its integrity for so long. And with Boots, he's still young, still in his prime, all that stuff. But Stanionis, he could do it. Absolutely, he could do it. I would say more so round 11 than round 6. But, hey, this is boxing. We don't know what may happen. So it can absolutely be true. But let me see. Let me see what people have to say. If Boots claims only reason he stayed to unify, then why tell Virtus come down to fight at 147? You're right. Again, I'm simply giving you the timeline of what initially was said. He knows Virgil can't come down to 147. There's no way Virgil can come down to 147. His smoke with Virgil is at 154. He's going to have to move up to 150. Look, I promise you, if we see him struggle again at this division, If we see him struggle, even if it's a win, if we see him struggle against Stanionis, like struggle, he's gonna move up to 150. I promise you. I guarantee you. There's no way. There's no way he doesn't move up to 154 after that. If it's a struggle. Cause the one thing with Boots, I don't know if he'll keep to his word to clean out the division like he said he was gonna do all those months ago. I don't. And it's not because I have ill will against him. I just don't trust him. Because we saw when your biggest op was right there, and it was all the sense in the world, even by your own words, to go and face him, you didn't. And now it's like, well, the biggest thing about Boots is the fact that we've been waiting on him to be the big star that we wanted to be. He should be one of the most high-profile athletes in the sport right now. But because he doesn't have that one signature win, even with all the talent and stuff, he's still meddling. I don't want to, not in mediocrity, but that's the wrong word, but shrouded. Here's the word. Overshadowed. That's the word I'm looking for. He's still overshadowed by the Tanks, the Canelos, the Benavidezes, the Crawfords, even the Errol Spence Jr.'s, who hasn't fought in almost 2 years. Excuse me, in 2 years. Ain't fought in 2 years. He's got more cachet than him. And it's not because Boots is bad. No, it's because he hasn't broken through that mold yet. To where everybody's like, oh my gosh, we can't look away from this man. And when it comes to the world of Boots, that fight was going to be that thing. And now that he ain't got it, it's like, man, you nixed your own opportunity to get the level of cachet that you feel you deserve and that you should deserve, because we know you. We as boxing fans know you, but casuals may not. And I don't say casual in a bad sense. There's so many boxers in the sport. Everybody can't keep up with everybody. Understandable. But you see how boxing media is right now. Most of us we talk about, or the headlines, are most of the same stuff. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank. And then the likes of Usyk and Fury, when they do fight. But because they ain't got no drama, nobody really discusses them outside anything else. And then Teofimo Lopez, that whole card. And then after that, there's in a way, when he gets brought up in conversation, if America will bring him up a lot more, he'll be a bigger name because he deserves to be. Doggone it. But there is a hierarchy that Boots can get to, but he just ain't there yet. Because the man, when the fight to make him that name, he let go. That's it. It hurt me. It hurt me bad. It hurt me so bad. Because that was your opportunity. And now it seems like you ran away from it. Seemingly, you ran away from it. And I just, it hurts. It hurts me bad. Hurts me bad. So you're saying Boots caught cold feet? Kind of. Like, again, he said he wants to unify. We respect it. We want you to clean out the division. We love an undisputed champion. We're never going to go against that. But we can't deny you went back on your word that you said you wanted to do. Again, hypocrisy. Contradicting. Even if the contradiction is a good contradiction, you still contradicted what you said. You still contradicted what you said you wanted, what you said you needed for your own body. And so it does look like, yeah, you caught cold feet. And it's a shame. But it's a reality. But yeah, let's see. Vargas beat Winky Wright. Cordy as good one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did beat Winky Wright. Oh gosh, I forgot he beat Winky Wright. Shoot. Yeah, you're right. You're right, he did. You're right, he did. So Vargas did have a better career. You right about it. Al Booger, what's good with you? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning into the show. No question about it. We appreciate you coming in. Salute to you and joining in on this Thursday afternoon. Let's see, Rusty Cage. Rolly Romero's getting more views than Boots. Yes, he is. And I dislike Rolly as a boxer. His mouth has cashed him every single ticket that he's got right now. The reason why he's fighting Ryan Garcia is simply because he talks a big game. And any knockout on Rolly Romero is going to get mega views because it's Rolly. And everybody loves to see that brother get put to sleep. Isak Cruz got put to sleep. Big numbers on every social media platform. Tank puts to sleep Rolly Romero. One of the biggest highlights of Tank's career. Every single time he gets beat, let alone gets knocked out, it is something to sell the other fighter. He is a cheat as a boxer. He's a cheat code to easy stardom. He's a cheat code to easy money from the standpoint of raise your stock. If you knock out Rolly, it raises your stock because it's going to be, oh gosh, oh wow. Shock and awe. Not because, oh, Rolly's something incredibly special, but because every time Rolly gets knocked out, it looks spectacular. like the genuine. It's like you know those in martial arts, karate or other types of professions. And I trained in I took karate for a couple years in my younger days. They had these boards that you would have to break with either a kick or a punch, whatever the case may be. Now, for people that were beginning, just to get practice, they have breakable boards. The sound is there, the crack is there, but it is already predisposed to be broken through with a punch. So you get your technique right, you get the form right, you get used to the feeling of being successful for younger kids and children and all that stuff. So that's what Rolly is. Rolly is a breakable board. Rolly he looks sturdy. But when you beat him and when you punch through him, it's going to make a loud crack. It's going to look good. Everybody's going to be saying, wow. Though we know it's not something spectacular, it's going to look spectacular and make everybody else that maybe isn't as in tune with the core of the boxing landscape be like, oh gosh, oh wow, what a fight. And Rolly should be better than that as a fighter in his own right, but that's a whole other conversation that we've covered in the past. But that's why he's there. And so it's a shame. Rolly losing gets more notoriety than Boots being successful. And outside of dedicated Jaron Boots Ennis talks, people don't discuss him enough. It's a shame. It's a big shame. It's a problem. And it's something that could have been avoided if we got to see him fight against the likes of Virgil Ortiz. Now, to get that same level of cachet, he may have to work even harder and fight a lot more to get that same level of, okay, now you've officially broken through like you should be breaking through. And so, we just have to wait and see. I'm excited for this fight. I'm excited for what this is going to bring. This Stanionis war is still a good war. Let's not get it twisted. We may lament him not fighting Virgil Ortiz. This is still a good fight. Let's pump the brakes before we say and discredit anything about this fight. This is still a good fight. This is still a bad brother in Stanionis. This is still a man who this will be a great win. A phenomenal win if Boots pulls this off and wins. No question. But we can't overlook what this is in lieu of and what could have been. In my opinion, what should have been. That still has us asking not just questions about your want to fight the best of the best, but also when it comes to you wanting to duck competition, that stigma of he's ready for everybody and anybody now is indeed at minimum slightly stained to the wider boxing public until you go out your way and changing that perception. It's going to be how you do what you're going to be what you do the rest of your career, which I'm excited to see, but it is what it is. But we're going to have to see. But again, we still have more to talk about on this show. In fact, shoot, is there anything you all want to discuss? I know we normally got the championship rounds later on in the show, but we can start it a little bit earlier if we want to. If you feel like, or do you want to go into the next topic of the day? Because like I said, we got Luka, we got the likes of Tank and Jake Paul, some further confirming news that Tank was going to fight Jake Paul from Jake Paul's own mouth, which leads us to have some questions about the end of this whole saga with Welch. Let's see, is Tank fighting Jake Paul? Well, you know what? Since we're here, let's go on and do it. We might as well. Next topic of the show is, in fact, Tank after Lamont Welch. And that question is involving Jake Paul, because it is going right now. So everybody is on the up and up. Yeah, but I thought Tank said Devin Haney was too big, and that he was only and that was only at 140. I know. It brings a lot. Yes, look, you ain't. Look, let me tell you something. You ain't lying. You ain't lying at all about all of that. But let me paint the picture before we get into the comments. Let me paint the picture so everybody gets exactly what's going on. Tank is not fighting Jake Paul right now. Let's get that out the way. Right now, Tank is not fighting Jake Paul. However, on Twitter, and in lieu of Jake Paul and MVP Promotions putting on Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3 on Netflix, I believe later this month, if not next month, he was asked about the whole Tank and Jake Paul fight situation, and was Jake Paul actually going to fight Tank Davis? And he confirmed it. Genuinely, on a red carpet type thing. In fact, let me pull it up for you so I can show you the clip itself. Yep, right here. Let me pull it up on the old picture-in-picture so everybody can see exactly. Nope, that ain't it. It's a black screen. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Hold up. Doggone it, every time. It always happens. I keep thinking I got it, and then I don't got it. Here we go. Okay, so now, as we go to picture-in-picture, this is what Jake Paul had to say when it came to the world of him fighting, or what was going to be the fight between him and Tank Davis after Lamont Welch.
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Javante were scheduled to fight for sure. We do have an announcement next week, but I'm just not going to leak anything. And we've had these fights pulled twice now at the 1 yard line, Canelo, Javante. I'm just not going to jinx it and say anything. Yeah, no, that we're gonna plan that for 2026. You know, he called me up and was like, "I saw you call me out," and he's like, "Let's run it. Let's make it happen."
Now, now, there's a lot to shoot. Oh gosh, hold on a minute. Now I had seen the first half of that clip. I hadn't seen the last half. Wait a minute. I didn't even peek the AJ comment 2026. Hold on now. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm going to touch on, we're going to talk about Tank and Paul and this whole saga. But just real quick, understand, if we didn't hear the end of that clip, he said, some reporter asked him about AJ. Was that fight going to happen? Jake Paul says that fight is going to happen 2026. We reaching out to him. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's make this happen." And we're looking to do that next year. Look, if you thought Ngannou was bad, if you thought that Ngannou knockout was bad, let Jake Paul fight AJ. Let Jake Paul fight AJ. Let him do it. Go ahead, let him fight AJ. If you thought that Ngannou, who was out for nearly 3 minutes, did not move for 3 minutes, who's got historically has one of the best chins in combat sports, who took Fury to 12 rounds and nearly beat him and knocked him down. If you thought that knockout was bad, Jake Paul legitimately will not get up from the ring. He would leave the ring in a stretcher. Let it happen. I almost want to say make the fight happen. I almost want to say lock it down and confirm. Go ahead and think you're going to do what you did to Daniel Dubois. Or go ahead and do what you think. Go ahead and do. Or excuse me, go ahead and try to do what Dubois did to AJ. Go ahead and try and see what happens. On top of you're going to be outmatched in every facet, physically, mentally, emotionally. speed, footwork, power. Oh yeah, go up, make it happen. He'll knock you out. He will kill you. He will actually kill you with no remorse. You saw what he did. He let his full force go against Ngannou. What do you think he's going to do to you if that fight does happen? That's a whole other conversation. But when we come to the world of Tank, real quick, let me paint the picture. Tank is not going to fight Jake Paul. Tank is going to fight Lamont Roach. It's going to happen. Like Jake Paul said, which was true. They were in talks to have that fight directly after Lamont supposedly would have gotten beat, which did not happen, turned to a draw. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I hated the whole saga initially. Now, if we see Tank win against Lamont Roach, what is stopping that fight from happening still? Genuine. And that's the biggest question. That's the biggest question with all of this. What is stopping that fight from happening still in light of Tank if he beats Lamont Roach this time? If. It's a big if. What is stopping that fight from happening still? Though we've said we want to see him fight the best of the best. Though we said there's no more, Jake Paul should not be any more in your vernacular for the rest of your career up until you quit and say, I'm done with boxing. Which he's also walked back that statement saying he's done with boxing by 2025. So with all of this stuff and what we know about Tank, what's stopping that fight from happening still? Again, because Tank is he does not want to be tested seemingly. That's the biggest thing I can say. He doesn't want to be tested seemingly at all. Every time I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, every time I try to say what he can do, what he can be, what he has the ability to be as a boxer, how far he can reach and touch the stars as a great talent. Every time I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, he keeps on doing something that forces me to have to be, again, unbiased and objective and say, you are wasting your own career and you're wasting all of our time. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. It's such a shame. And like you said, Jake Paul got to be 220. On the night of the Tyson fight, he was Tyson was 236. Jake Paul was like around that same weight, 239. Of course, Tyson upper body could move and could dodge and get out the way, but lower body could not move a lick. If this was Tyson 4 years ago, like it was against Roy Jones Jr., yeah, that Tyson beats Jake Paul. That the Tyson that fought Roy with movement that could actually close off the ring, that Tyson would have beaten Jake Paul. This Tyson, completely different. A shell, a disgrace, a spit in the face to the sport. That's what Jake Paul had done for that fight. But regardless of which, he's 220. Most likely it'll be a fight where he comes down to 190. And if Tank takes that fight after saying that Devin Haney was too big, after saying that Ryan Garcia at 140 would be too big, after saying that 135 was his main weight class, it is just spewing hypocrisy left, right, and center. Even walking back your statement that you were done in 2025 with boxing is hypocrisy. Now, again, it's good hypocrisy. We're glad that he's staying in the sport longer. We're glad that he now wants to walk back retirement in light of this Lamont Roach fight and potentially give us everything that we have been asking for as fans. Potentially. But still, he flips his mind every single time. And because of that, with everything that we were saying about how this should no longer be a conversation, because now you got business with Lamont and everybody else at 135 and at 140. Now, there's more, the more that I think about it, the more I'm seeing Tank, even if he beats Lamont, could go and still fight Jake Paul and just keep at the same situation. Especially if it's a spectacular knockout that he gets on Lamont Roach, if he wins. And even if he loses, listen close. Even if Tank loses this fight with Lamont Roach, he could still fight Jake Paul. Even if Tank loses this fight with Lamont Roach, he could still fight Jake Paul. He could still do it. He could still do it. No question. It's a shame. It's not right shame, but it is a legitimate possibility. I don't want to see it happen. Not in the slightest. But it isn't something that is just so that is no longer in conversation anymore. Tim, I'm sorry. Angie Maxson, if I didn't say earlier, I just saw your comment. If I didn't say earlier, I thought I had said it in the breakdown. But I said that Virgil Ortiz is winning in round, what did I say? 9. I said not Ortiz. Excuse me. No. Excuse me. Oh no. This is Virgil Ortiz. If Virgil Ortiz versus Boots, I would take. At this point in time, I would take Virgil Ortiz by knockout in round 9. If that for my money. I'm sorry. I just saw your comment because I was trying to scroll through, get the video up and all that stuff. To my apologies. But if Virgil Ortiz and Boots fought right now, I'm taking Virgil Ortiz by round 9 KO in a very competitive fight. But that's what I would have if I had to pick the two. But let me go back down and continue this. And let me see what people have to say. Every time I turn around, he's doing something that I don't condone. Whether professional or private life, makes it hard to support him. And it's like Tank loves money fights or less risk fighters, not legacy fights. And at least AJ's washed up. Tank is smack in the middle of his prime years. The surrounding issue with Tank Davis is that even when his back is against the wall, the pride in his legacy as a fighter, I don't know how much he has. Now, I'm not trying to be one of those people that are trying to attack somebody personally or go after your character. I'm not trying to do that. Please understand. I'm not trying to do that in slight. I never disrespect anybody that steps foot in the ring. Never. But we were just saying after this fight that Tank's back was against the wall, that there is nowhere else he can go except for continuing to fight the best of the best. Because if Lamont Roach gave you trouble, and that was supposed to be a cherry pick, now you can't say that you're above the likes of Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Ryan Garcia in a rematch, even the likes of Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, everybody that was at your division and you didn't fight them and moved up, or everybody that was at your division and still stayed there, or newcomers who are there, like Abdullah Mason, even like Floyd Schofield, even like with Lomachenko, who we all know is still a big threat. Shoot, at this point, based off of Lamont Roach moving up, what if we see Emmanuel Navarrete? He's fighting Suarez this month. If he beats him and says, you know what, I don't need to go for unified. Let me move up to lightweight outright. Let me move up to 135 now and go and fight the best of the best. If he moves up there, he is a viable threat. He's a viable threat now because you already brought up Lamont for 130. So it's like all that is now what he is in the midst of. From 140 to 130, right now looks to be some of the deepest ranges in boxing from a talent pool perspective. And you are in the thick of it and at the top of it. And yet, when you were seemingly exposed to the world as, you can't just talk your way to say that you're better than X, Y, Z. You got to show it now based on what you showed against Lamont. Still, he can go back and fight the people that we don't want to see him fight because he doesn't care about the legacy that would in turn make him even more money. It's a shame. It would even be easier to digest that he was fighting or even in talks with fighting the likes of Lamont or initially, yes, Lamont. Because when that fight was made, we all had a problem with it. But with Jake Paul, it would be even more, or it would be more digestible, though still disgusting, if he had handled all of his business, or at least the majority of his business, at his division. If he had accomplished something, this would at least be more acceptable. AJ calling out the likes of Jake Paul, which Jake Paul said AJ reached out to him. I hate it still. I still do. But it's the fact that at least we saw AJ fight at least everybody that we can think of except for Wilder and Fury. And Fury, did Fury duck him or did AJ duck Fury? More inclined to think Fury ducked AJ, but regardless of which, and then from the standpoint of Wilder, that fight was going to go through. From what I know now, Wilder was offered $100 million by the zone for a 3-fight deal that would have included AJ. And then he turned that down and didn't take it. And so it's starting to think that Wilder ducked AJ when both of them were at their prime. But regardless of which, outside of those two names, we saw AJ fight just about everybody else. And so we can at least say he handled most of their business. He fought Dubois. He fought Parker. He like every single viable person outside of the two best of the best. He fought Usyk twice. Okay, you elite. You run the gambit just about. Okay, I still hate that you're fighting or want to fight Jake Paul, but at least you did what you did. Tank is not this. It's not the case at all. And Tank, it's not the case at all. It's just not. And so it's a problem. It's a mega problem. And if Tank had done more, I still would be despising it, but at least I would have had that in my back pocket. Okay, he's already done this, that, and the third. Now Tank's done nothing, less than nothing, and yet still he is entertaining these fights. And if he loses to Welch in the second time out, he could still go and take Jake Paul just because. If anything, it might be even more likely that he fights Jake Paul if he loses to Lamont Roach, because then he sure enough won't want to fight anybody of note. Though that would be the only course of action that he should be doing. It would be it. It might be, if he loses to Roach, Jake Paul's the last boxer he fights, and then he's gone outright, which is a shame. But with how we know Tank moves, that is a legitimate possibility. That even if Tank loses to Lamont, he will still go and fight Jake Paul afterwards and not try to fight anybody else, because it seems like he is scared of real competition. He said his ego can't take losing. His pride can't take losing. Your pride should also be able to put you in a position where you would want to at least be tested. Nobody wants to lose. We get that. But everybody wants to prove themselves. And you and your fans have been saying you've proven something when you haven't proven anything. We want to see you tested. We don't want to downgrade you. We want to praise you, at least for trying. We want to give you praise just for trying to do great stuff. Not even if you're successful. Just because you tried to do stuff is exactly why we would like you. But you ain't even trying. And that's a mega problem. Huge problem. And it's a problem that you created. And I hate it. I despise it. Let's see, I disagree with you calling Boots the king at 147, though they all emailed champs. Yeah, Boots got to show he's the king. And I'm a Boots fan. And I think when it comes to Boots, when I say Boots is the king at 147, I am saying that when I look at the landscape of the division, I see him as the best in that division, no doubt. I do. Again, I can go through the list. And while, sure, he's got to prove more. But from the since Crawford and Spence were in the division, he was within that top 5. Moved up to about the only viable contender after Crawford beat Spence that Crawford had to offer in terms of Boots Ennis. That was it. That's what everybody wanted to see. If not, he moved up to 154. We were all saying, well, after he beats Boots, all right, Boots, now it's time. After he beats Spence, we were all saying, Boots, this is it. We're all excited for it. We're all rubbing our hands together. Now with Terrence and Boots, now with Terrence and Spence and Porter and the majority of the other heavy hitters at 147 gone, retired, and or moved up, I don't see anybody else is better than Boots right now at the division. I don't. But Mario Barrios, sure enough, ain't better. Brian Norman Jr. is a great competitor, no question. I think Boots is better than him. Stanionis, I can't wait for the fight, but I think Boots is better than Stanionis. I mean, like, Kurel, but Mabinch, Ramos, who had a war with Barrios. I can't see anybody else that's better than Boots concretely at this division. Now, if you want to say because he hasn't gotten all the belts and stuff, okay, fine. I'll say that Boots is the man to beat right now to take the crown of the king of the division. And if you want to, and if you don't want to say he's the king, sure, he's got to prove it. He's got to keep on fighting. Absolutely. If he beats Stanionis, if he beats Stanionis, what will that put him? Excuse me, I'll get my words tight. If he beats Stanionis, what would you say his position in the division would be then? I want to get your feelings real quick, so I can get your perceptive level. If he does beat Stanionis, does that make him, at that point in time, the best in the division, in your opinion? And in the chat, I would love to read what you have to say. Because for me, he's already the best in that division, in my opinion, right now. But for you, what would be the thing that would put him as, okay, yeah, he's the king of 147. He is the best there. And he's the guy to beat. And your estimation. Whoever wins Saturday becomes the man to beat at 147. Okay, all right, okay. So Stanionis, if he beats him, Stanionis is the best at 147. Is that cool? And then vice versa, if Boots beats Stanionis, Boots would be seen as the best, or majoritarily seen as the best at 147. If as of right now, is that what the sentiment is for the public in the chat right now? Let me see. Personal feelings do not equate reality. Yeah, he might have to be the best. He might be the best, but he got to prove it. Okay, yeah. So this weekend is gonna be the proving ground to show whether or not he is deserving of that title or not. Okay, I can respect that. I can definitely respect that. No question. I can respect that. You got to show what you can do. You can be the best, but you got to prove it in the ring against the people that would make you. Okay, so cool. We'll see it. I ain't got no problem with it. I feel that he is the best, but he's got to show it. And if he proves it against Stanionis and beats him, regardless of all the flaws I may say that he's got defensively, then it'll be definitive that he's the best at 140. Or excuse me, at 147. Not 140. I'm sorry, at 147. So you're right. Okay, yeah, so I can agree with that. Can't crown someone on the eye test. Okay, I can respect that. Okay, so if I change it, if I say that he's the most talented in the division, is that a little better? We let's say we don't have a real king yet. We don't have a real best in the division, but we have a most talented in terms of who's got the most tools in their tool belt. Similar to Teofimo Lopez against the rest of 147, or against the rest of 140. He's the most talented fighter in that division. But you can have arguments whether he's the best in that division or not because of who he beat, who he hasn't beat yet. Would that be a better way to frame it? We don't have a best in the division up until after Saturday. But the most talented in that division would be Boots. Is that a better way to say? Okay. So hands down. Okay, yes, hands down. Okay. I just wanted to make sure so I can get a little bit more. Make sure I'm putting everything together properly, so I can make sure. Let me see what people have to say more. Because let's see, Yo Trey, I clicked on you, but I didn't even get to read you. Let's see, you can't say he wasn't trying to fight the champ for the belt. He called out the champ, so I say you better email me that belt or else. Yeah, he did want Crawford. Crawford moved up. He couldn't fight for it, so he was giving it to him. And I think it was also ranked number 1. Also, I think by, was it the IBF that he got, or was it the WBA? One of the two. when Crawford relinquished the belts and essentially put all the Infinity Stones out into the ether. And they were just, like a Green Lantern. Everybody got every one of the best top 4 got a belt, like a ring of power for my DC fans out there. So, I understand everybody's perspective, and so he didn't want Crawford, couldn't get Crawford, got the belt, didn't fight for the belt. But like we've said before on past episodes, I don't hold email champions in a negative light, because like with David Benavidez, like we can't hold that against him, that he got emailed a title after he was in line to fight Bebo. And he was also in line to fight Canelo and never got those shots. And now he's became a champion by beating everybody else, but never got to beat the main guy. Does that make him less of a champion, though he put in the work and got avoided, seemingly, by both Bebo and Canelo? So it's that argument again. And that's why I don't hold it against him. He is a champ. He's going to unify. He's going to prove how much of a champion he really is when he fights against Stanionis. I think that's the best way to put it. They don't want to fight Ennis yet. Maybe true. Let's see. Ryan Garcia versus Boots. Do you think Ryan can land those bombs? Derek J is going to keep that right hand improving. Boots would definitely get caught by Ryan Garcia's left foot. I think that's the case. Let me see. And you want to know my thoughts on the Superman trailer? Bring it up when we get to the championship rounds. I'll talk about it. Absolutely, I'm excited for that movie. I am. I really am. But I'll go through the trailer and all that stuff later on in the championship rounds. But look, if Boots would get caught by Ryan Garcia's left hook, yes, he would. But Boots also would knock out Ryan Garcia. I think. Yeah. He knocks him out. He knocks him out bad. I really do. I think he knocks him out bad. And it's not because Ryan Garcia ain't got a chin or got hard or whatever. It's because remember, the biggest thing about why, outside of Austrian and all that stuff, the biggest thing with why Ryan Garcia was able to do what he did to Devin Haney, who had been able to have success against the likes of Lomachenko and others, was because he was able to match him in size. He was. Boots at 147, even a weight drain Boots at 147, because they would be fighting at 147. He ain't coming back down to 140. Is a monster. A fully rehydrated Boots is a menace. And athletically, he clears Ryan Garcia in every aspect, except for hand speed. And even then, he's comparable. But like everything that Ryan Garcia normally does to his opponents, Boots will be able to do to him. And that Philly shell, or some people call that silly shell, that Ryan Garcia does when he shells up entirely, that Devin Haney could do nothing with, that Oscar Duarte could do nothing with, Boots ain't going to have that problem. Go ahead, turn your back to Boots and let Boots hit you in the kidneys and or spleen, whatever on the side that's exposed. You're going to stop. You're gonna stop. You say that Tijuana shell. Go ahead. Put in that Tijuana shell. Go ahead and shell up in the Garcia special. Go ahead. Devin Haney ain't have no power. Duarte has some good pop, but he wasn't to the body, couldn't do anything. Let that be Boots. Oh gosh, no. That's and he's got the reach to loop around and would actually be able to catch you on that opening, even where your head is already all the way turned around, and could angle out and punch you where you're going to lean. Yeah. Let's not forget, as much as we may lament Boots as a defensive fighter at times because he gets lazy, he still, as a talent, brother, he does everything you would want. Ryan Garcia, like imagine Tank, but bigger. I'm not saying Boots is on the level of Tank, but I'm saying like the power coupled with great IQ and ability to set traps, and is smart and can match you in size. Yeah. Like when Boots is on his game, he's almost unstoppable. And against Ryan Garcia, who, again, with all respect in the world, he is more so a physically driven fighter. Not saying he can't think, not saying he can't set traps, not saying that he isn't smart, but what drives his fighting style is more so his physical ability and his physical gifts rather than thinking the game. Again, I'm not calling him dumb, but he doesn't think the game at the same multi-steps ahead like what we'll see with the likes of others and what we've seen with Boots at his best. Even Ryan at his best. Literally, what we saw with Ryan that was quote unquote at his best against Devin Haney was actually his worst. He was out of shape, wasn't training hard, didn't care, was absolutely belligerent, and strictly off of physical aggression alone was able to do what he did. Against Boots, that's not happening. And so now, he destroys Ryan Garcia if they face off against each other. Ryan Garcia, he's going to catch him. Oh, he will catch him. He'll catch him with a left hook, no question. I'm almost assured. But Ryan Garcia gets knocked out. Knocked out bad. He gets knocked out bad. Not to the body this time. I mean, you remember what you saw? You remember when Callum Smith caught Ryan Garcia? Y'all remember that? You know, he went stiff and fell back, got up. He got up. He got up. He got up. Yes, he did. He got up against Tank Davis too. But when he went stiff and went down, well, when Tank caught him with the counter on the inside and he dropped and fell like a sack of potatoes and then got back up, that's going to be Boots to Ryan Garcia all night long if they ever fought against each other. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But Ryan don't want none of that. Ryan don't want none of that. Listen, Al Booker, no way Ryan legit challenge for anybody. And again, he is. But once it gets to 147, it's going to be a lot more, it's going to be a lot tougher. It's going to be a lot tougher to have that physically driven style or reliance on your physical ability to be the main thing that makes you successful. It's going to be hard. At 140, you can do it, absolutely. At 147, now you're looking at a different, especially with who's at the top. Now you're looking at it's a different threshold. It is that you gotta be more of a thinker. That Ryan Garcia, again, respect him, absolutely, but he's not that yet. If he evolves, now let's say we see Ryan Garcia change, become better, evolve, turn into a better fighter, have tools that we didn't see it, be able to set traps more effectively. Lull Devin Haney into not just a brawl, but be able to actually like set traps in a boxing sense. Oh yeah. Now we can have that conversation. Oh, maybe he could go to 147. Maybe he could get Boots some legitimate trouble. Maybe he could be somebody that could be one of the tops in that division if he ever chose to move up. Maybe. But right now, yeah, I can't see it right now. I can't, because it's a different story that requires a whole new field. It's a whole new field that you got to have when you move up from 135 or, yeah, from 140 to 147. It is a significant jump. It is, especially from a talent pool perspective and just from a physical sense. While you're in the midst of one of the biggest talent pools at 135, the physical aspects from 140, or excuse me, while you're at the talent pool between that realm of 130 to 140, 147 now was a big jump that even from the standpoint of physical traits are enough to overshadow even some of the better boxing minds from the lower divisions, because it's a major jump in power, durability, weight, and all-around physical capabilities. So until we see Ryan Garcia be more affluent as a boxer, I don't know if he can compete at that level, especially not with Boots at 147. I don't think so. But let me see. It's just a question for how Boots fights that fight. If he boxes Ryan, I think he takes him not easy. I think so too. If he brawls with Ryan, I think he takes him easy. There's no way I don't think that Boots doesn't knock out Ryan Garcia if they fought against each other. Let's see. Right, 147 is different, especially for that big athletic dog in Boots. Rolling versus Ryan is at 140. Is it? It is? It is? Wait a minute. Now, I didn't know that. I thought it was at 140 or like a catch weight of like 140, maybe 142, 143, maybe. It's at 147 as well. Well, if that's the case, shoot. Let's see. Boot struggle with Karn. I'm sure Ryan will give him some work. I'm gonna touch on both of these points. Karn and Ryan are completely different fighters style-wise. You're right. All three of you are right. Rusty Cage, or rather Al Booger, thanks for helping me out. Is the fight at 147? I thought it was at a catchweight. Al Booger saying yes it is. I'm going to check while we're talking. But in the midst of it, if this fight is indeed at 147, this still doesn't tell me how much he can compete. Do you know why? Because it's Rolly Romero. Like, really? Come on now. Everything that I said previously, even if this fight is indeed at 147, still stands that I don't know what Ryan Garcia is going to be able to do at 147 against the tops. Because as a boxer, he is still not as great as we need him to be. Because his testing ground at 147 is Rolly Romero. How is that a quality test to show me whether you can beat Boots or Stanionis or Conceição or anybody at 147? If your barometer now is how do you beat Rolly Romero? That is not good. I'm not trying to be mean, but like we gotta keep it real. We gotta keep it real. I can't say that that's a quality test. I can't say that's a quality litmus test. If it's Boots as the man that we're talking about, and you're one opposition at the same weight as a brother who we all say is a bum from the standpoint of at the elite level, is a bum at the elite level. Below the elite level, and from the good to great fighter, okay, yeah, he's belonging in that range. But at the elite level, Rolly does not belong in the slightest with any of the top names. And now it's like, no, hold on. Now, wait a minute. Now, Rusty, how am I moving the goalposts? How am I moving the goalposts? Because, like I said, everything that I said is true. But because Rolly Romero, like we've seen 3 times now, or just about 3 times now, against top competition, even not top competition, is not good from that standpoint of if you are at that championship level, he gives you a issue. With Ryan Garcia fighting Rolly at 147, if that is indeed where the fight's going to be at, that is not a great litmus test to show me where Ryan Garcia can compete. From the standpoint of, as an opponent, oh, he beat him. Wow, that's something serious. Rolly was outboxing Tank until refs stopped the fight. No, Rolly was aggressive, no question. Tank was afraid. He said he was worried about the power. Absolutely. But Tank sparked that brother out with one clean counter. Legitimately one clean counter. And so, like, based on that, and then what happened with Isaac Cruz, and then what happened before that with what's his name? Barrosos. Like, we saw after Tank what Rolly really is, even against other competitors. I'll even give it to you that he performed better than we expected against the likes of Rolly, against the likes of Tank. With being aggressive, using his power, using his athleticism, trying to go and actually put some level of respect on his name in the mind of Tank Davis, which he did. But it ended in the same way where he got KO'd bad, and literally threw himself into a punch. Genuine. All the problems that were there were still there. And then when he fought against Isaac Cruz, who also fought against Tank, he got sparked out and dominated. When he fought against Barrosos, it was an even worse performance. Outright, he got robbed, or rather, Barrosos got robbed of that win because he had Rolly Romero hurt, he had him rocked, and he isn't even a great technical boxer in the slightest. simply by power alone. You saw what he did. Now you put him against Ryan Garcia, who is taller, bigger, stronger. And for Rolly Romero, who is a physically driven fighter, he's not a great technical boxer. He's not. He's not a great thinking boxer. This is not disrespect. This is the reality. His best weapon is his physical power, intimidation, and ability to come forward. And his stocky size against most opponents. And his raw athleticism. Now, that is negated by everything that Ryan Garcia is. If Ryan Garcia fought as just, we know Ryan Garcia now, with no improvement at all, we know almost assuredly, because anything can happen in boxing, but almost assuredly, he would knock out Rolly Romero if he made no improvement at all. If it was the exact same Ryan Garcia that fought against Devin Haney, fights against Rolly Romero with no improvement whatsoever, there is, in my mind, again, I only speak for me, in my mind, there is almost no chance that we don't see Ryan Garcia knock out Rolly Romero with no improvement at all. Because of that stance and understanding the talent of Rolly, which, again, we saw what he could do at his best, sure. But even with that being the case, he never showed any consistency with that one-time performance against Rolly. And every other opponent that should have been a situation where he can build off of this and win and be successful and show, okay, yeah, this brother is indeed legit. He did. And he got dominated in it against people that were well under, or at least a little under, the likes of Tank. And we've gotten both ends of the spectrum, both well under Tank and a little bit lower than Tank, or lower in respect, in terms of Isak Cruz and Barrosos. And both of them ended in the same way, in even worse fashion. He never got back to that level. It was a one-time situation. And with Ryan, I can't see anything that gives me a situation where, yeah, this is a great litmus test because of the type of opponent that this is. Because when we look at Rolly, we know what Rolly is, which is, like I said before, somebody who was brought in to get knocked out because it will bring a lot of cachet. He talks himself into a big fight, and he always gets beaten in spectacular fashion. And that's what's being used against Ryan to help catalyst that rematch for Devin Haney. I promise you. I promise you this was going to happen. Because I've never valued Rolly as a quality boxer. Never. He's a pressure fighter who keeps on with all of the athletic ability, fighting below his level consistently. He never fought up to the level that he did against Tank ever again, even against competition that you would think he should have been able to do. So I can't give him that and say, oh, I'm moving the goalposts by saying that Rolly is not a quality litmus test for Ryan Garcia at 147. Because if Ryan does nothing different, he would get a knockout just the same. Because that's the type of fighter that Rolly is. Now, if it was a better fighter or a more nuanced fighter, like a Shukajan, hey, like with Stanionis right now, or any of the top 10, top 15, or crafty fighters at the division, we have ourselves a different conversation. Cool. But right now with Rolly, I can't say that because of who Rolly is as a boxer. That's not something, whether it's 154, 140, 147, shoot, heavyweight, it don't matter what weight class it would be in. The same thing would be. He is not a great litmus test for your competitiveness at the elite of boxing levels. Because from the elite all the way down to the contenders, he showed the same thing, which is not that much at all, at least in my estimation. But again, that's just my humble opinion on it all. Let's see. He has very elite athleticism. Yes, he does. Very high IQ and is in the ring. We know we got to see if he put it all together in the big fights. Well, it was outboxing Tank. Let's see. Buga Karin made him look normal. Yes, he did. Well, also Karin is a very crafty and technically very intelligent fighter. Cruz and Barrosos are top fighters, but I don't think Barroso is a from a talent perspective, Barroso is not he's a threat because of the power, no question. But I'm not, from a talent perspective, I'm not putting him as a top fighter in a division. He's still one of the bigger threats, no question. But from somebody who, if you can box, you should be able to do some good work against him. And he's also slower. He's still a big threat. I'm not denying it. But we're talking about from what Rolly Romero is and what we know Ryan Garcia is and what we've seen Rolly do against every single level of elite or not elite contenders with all the athleticism and all of the drive and all of, well, not drive, excuse me, with all of the raw power that he's got. It still is not something that has ever been shown that makes me see him as, oh, this is somebody special. Now, again, this is my opinion. If you think I'm lowballing him, no question. Sure. I completely respect it. You don't have to agree. I completely understand if you don't agree. I feel you. But it's just, for me, I can't say that he's a great litmus test for me. And so, yeah, I think Ryan's going to stop Rolly. Horrible matchup for Rolly. That's what I'm saying. It's a terrible matchup, and Rolly will have no answer to be able to test outside of, ooh, he catches him. That's the only time. But how he can catch him and that ability is going to be negated because he can't fight like the bigger man in this fight. Because he's not the bigger man in this fight. And the whole point of his whole career has been he fights like he's bigger because he's stronger, more athletic. That's not the case in this situation. So that's why I can't see it. And so let's see. Cruz whooped Rolly worse than Davidson. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Cruz did whoop him worse than Rolly. He whooped him more thoroughly. He whooped him more thorough than we saw Tank do. And I and many people thought Cruz beat or at least tied with Davis. That's no problem there either. Now, I felt that Tank won, but I also feel that Cruz deserves a rematch because of how competitive that fight was, even with Tank having the injured hand. But regardless of which, it still should be that there's a rematch for Isaac Cruz on the side of Tank Davis. I hate the fact that he didn't get a rematch. I do. I really do. I still think Tank would win, but it would still be a great fight. I would love to see that Isaac Cruz deserves another crack at. But, and I'll leave it at this. Last thing with this whole Tank, or with this whole Rolly and Ryan fight and his standpoint at 147. This will be the last thing. When we look at how Cruz beat Rolly Romero, what makes us think that Ryan Garcia could not do the exact same thing? Genuine. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Ryan Garcia could not do that exact same type of performance against Rolly Romero, but even more effectively because of his, again, straight physical traits alone? Without any, we can take technical aspects out the window. Strictly with just aggression and fervor. Could you see Ryan Garcia do the same thing that we saw Isaac Cruz do to Rolly against Rolly? Do you think he could? Because by that metric, shows me the biggest instance as to why this isn't a great litmus test for 147. Because you can beat Rolly Romero without being anything more if you're Ryan Garcia. You don't have to be anything more to beat Rolly Romero than what you are. You don't have to think hard. You don't have to really go through and outside of, I don't want to get caught because, yeah, he's strong. You don't have to be anything spectacular from the standpoint of you don't have to all of a sudden retool and regroup everything to beat Rolly. Isaac Cruz bum rushed the brother and beat him. And Rolly was on the back foot the entire time. Rolly could not even use his athleticism because of the forward pressure of Isaac Cruz. And Isaac Cruz, what we know about Isaac Cruz, it is literally walk you down, block, hook, 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 hook. That's all he does. We love it, absolutely. He's just a walking rock. No question. But like, what makes us think that against Ryan Garcia or against Rolly, Ryan Garcia couldn't do that same thing? And that's why I'm like, I'm really thinking like there's no. It wouldn't be a, oh shoot, this showed me something new, unless Ryan Garcia went out of his way to show us something new and a better part of his game. That would be the difference. If Ryan Garcia stayed exactly the same, he could do what Isak Cruz did. Dare I say he could do what Isak Cruz did more effectively because of all of everything that Ryan Garcia is, without having to elevate his game. He could downgrade his game and still do the same thing that we saw Isak Cruz do to Rolly Romero. He could. But even with that type of win, that wouldn't be something to give me a green light to say, yep, he can compete with the likes of a Boots or others at 147. Hence why I'm like, he needs to win, absolutely. But for me to say, if Rolly Romero is the opponent, it's got to be something seriously impressive against Rolly that he shows me to give me something to say, yep, maybe I can think a little bit more about what he can do at 147. But right now, if it's just what we expect to see, I most likely won't be all that impressed. Just me personally. For you, completely different. I completely respect it. But for me personally, that's how I feel about it. Let me see. Curious to know why you think the international athletes in boxing and basketball have caught up and even arguably surpassed the Americans' chokehold in dominance in each sport. Well, that actually can lead us into the world of our next topic, which is, hey, Luka getting 45 on the Mavericks. Shoot, if we want to go and transition to basketball, hey, we can do that too. Oh, no question about it. Hey, this is a perfect standpoint. Luka is one of the biggest reasons as to why this is happening. Because of and I'm going to touch on Luka and all that stuff. We're about to talk about it. But it's a great segue into this topic. International athletes, like with anything, time makes everything evolve and change. Basketball, boxing, all walks of life, and just athletics as a whole. Whether it's economies, whether it's the likes of evolution in society, all that stuff. Time changes everything. And so with time, especially in basketball, started in America, rooted in America, throughout every neighborhood, basketball was our football or soccer for people overseas or for people in the States or whatever the case may be. Our football was basketball. And football, American football, those two sports were all around us. It took some time for the sport to spread throughout the world, like with China, like with Europe, like with England, even in Africa. And so with all that being said, now, since the masses of the world have been able to get into the sport more, we've been able to see the sport evolve in those specific countries. And especially because there are a lot of other leagues and nations are more fundamental in how they teach the game from childhood on, as opposed to here in the States, where it's more so if you play club ball, or if you play AAU or the other types of basketball leagues from childhood all the way to high school, to college, and whatnot, the games, the way it's being taught, isn't as fundamental. And so you get a lot of kids who are athletic and great, but they don't have the same fundamental type of play style or thinking that we see European players have. Now that European players have caught up in a way to the athleticism, on top of having the way that they're taught in basketball, translating with the athleticism that they have now, it's caused a rapid growth in the catching up of talent pools between all respective nations, especially from specifically the U.S. compared to the rest of the world. So that helps bring and bridge the gap. Now you got Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, Luka right now, who just had 45, has been All-NBA all for the first 5 seasons of his career. Stupid, incredible. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Sabonis. I can go down the line. There's so many, so many. And it's because their fundamental teaching of the game, coupled with the athleticism that is now starting to catch up with the NBA world or the U.S. world, now breeds a very competitive aspect of football and basketball in every aspect of sports world. And so that's why, at least from my metric, that's why. That's all we see. But as we can see, I call your sport tackle ball. Well, you know, everybody says that we're just horrible. We're just terrible in terms of why do you call football, but you don't even play with your feet? It's a whole nother saga, absolutely. But we're gonna have to. That's a whole nother conversation. It's nothing to do with your feet. See, you see what I'm saying? I already knew it was coming. Before I even read the comment, I knew that's what was gonna be said because that always happens. And yes, a new Mario Kart game is coming. Absolutely, it's dropping. I think this year next year on the new Switch 2. That's also coming out, which we can talk about later. But we do have to discuss this one thing before we get into the championship rounds, and that is Luka and his 45-point revenge on the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA world. This is one of the biggest sporting events that we were all waiting on, because if you have been keeping track with basketball, one of the biggest moves that have been made was Luka getting traded from Dallas to the Lakers in a shocking move that had everybody scratching their head, crying and wailing in the streets. Now we get to see not only did the Lakers clinch up this their playoff spot in this year's playoff race, but also Luka in his first game back in Dallas put up 45, 8, and 6 in an absolute dominating display against his former team, outplaying AD in an absolute incredible situation with the trade, going through and I think he only had 16 points, and this was incredible, and it really showed us all. One, Luka loved the city, Luka loved the people, and Luka now that he got this game out of his system. Oh, he's breaks you off now. He's running roughshod. He's running roughshod over everybody. And this makes the Lakers look really scary. And it makes us really feel bad for Dallas. Because, Nico Harris, you just went and gutted your franchise for no good reason. And now you see what it brought you. Pain and disdain. Shouting fire Nico in the stands. You can't ban 20,000 people. It's terrible. It's horrible. And I promise you, this is going to be one of the biggest things that bites you in the butt for years to come. It's going to be one of the biggest things that bite you in the butt for years. And I do mean years. For years, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a major problem. It's going to be your legacy forever. That you will only be known as the man to gut your franchise. And one of the worst moves in basketball history. I mean, it's incredible. It's almost laughable. It's stupid, I'll be completely honest. But with all that being said, I just wanted to cover that real quick for the basketball heads out there. But now we go into the world of shoot, whatever y'all want, because now it's time for the championship rounds. That's right. Make some noise. Get excited. We're here. Make the show all year round. It's time to work. It's time to play. It's time to have it your way, because we got to go and make the show your own. Whatever you want to talk about in the comments of the chat. We got roughly 30 minutes to an hour. It's 1 hour 53 in this show. We can go about 15, 30 minutes to about roughly 2:20, 2:30 in terms of the hour mark for this show. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to say, put it in the chat. Put it in the comments, and we can talk about it right now. I'm all up for it. I'm all excited for it. I'm all for making it do what it do. Trying to make sure that, okay. I thought something was going awry. I thought my computer was about to fly away for a hot minute, but no, we here. We good. We're good. We're okay. But regardless of which I'm sorry, that thing started revving up a little bit. I got a little bit scared. I thought sound like a jet engine in this room for a hot minute. But no, we good, we okay. But make sure you're on. Whatever you want to comment and talk about, put it in the chat below. We got 30 minutes to now. Let's see what y'all have to offer in the show right now. Let's see what we got to be. We can go back up in the chat and we'll work our way from the top down for what people have to say from the standpoint of their show. And let's see. Yep, Mario Kart World. Am I excited? Absolutely, I'm excited. No question, I can't wait to see it. I do not like that it's going to be $80 for those of you who are gamers. The digital version of the game is going to be $80. The disc version of the game, which isn't even a disc, it's a chip that gives you a key passcode to have access to download the game on your device through the internet. So it's not even actually physical. But to have something in your hands is $90, which is preposterous. We're excited for a new Mario Kart, but that's just highway robbery. The only game we would even think of paying that much for would be GTA 6, which I believe is coming out this year. Potentially. Hypothetically. Rumors are coming through. That's coming out this year. But regardless of which, that's the only game that anybody will be thinking of paying $100 for. And that's with DLC or baseline. $90 for the Mario Kart is strictly baseline. $80 digital is the baseline. That is in no way, shape, or form worth anybody's money. Oh gosh, that is highway robbery. Shoot. I tell you, that's who. People gonna be digging deep. People gonna be digging deep for that game. And the console's already gonna be in the States $4.99, over in Japan $3.99. It's oh boy, that's gonna be something serious. That is gonna be, it's gonna be bad. That's gonna be something bad. I'm excited for it, but oh shoot, it's gonna be something serious. And Shay's it's even from Canada. What do you think? What do you think now, since you have some time to digest Nuggets firing Mike Malone? Who? Shoot. Who? So, in the world of Mike Malone, and again, I see y'all right now. $80 is highway robbery. I blame Trump's tariffs, and to a degree, that is also why the console is more expensive here than it is over in the States or over in Japan, because of the tariffs that are being implemented. Now, there was a pause on the tariffs that may help affect and swing the market. I don't know where. If you've been following the stock market, it's been a whole, shoot. I tell you what, if you thought that Luka trade was something that had everybody up in arms, the stock market right now, because of the recent actions of the states, is just that's got some people crying and wailing in the streets, no question. But again, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother economic plan. It is a lot. It's a lot. And again, depending on it, right now it's set for $5.99. Or it's going to be $4.99 here in the U.S., $3.99 in the States. Depending on what may happen with the whole tariff situation globally, it could be that it goes higher than that. And they may push the release date for the console and the game back to reevaluate what needs to be the cost for that. Because the global economic standpoint right now is very shaky, to be very blunt. But that's a whole nother conversation. And there's plenty of other people, plenty of other channels, plenty of other articles and reporters that can talk about that better than me. But just understand, it's hitting a lot of people hard. That's the minimum that I can say. But Jay Will, to go and answer your question, new stuff has come out about the Mike Malone situation. Apparently, management, or rather ownership, was mad that Mike Malone was starting somebody more than they should have, giving somebody more minutes than they should have to make this team be better, or rather be where they are right now in terms of still being fourth, but not being nearly what they can be from the standpoint of what they can be with his roster. Just guess who that person was. Just guess. I'll give you 5 seconds. Guess who the Nuggets had a problem with starting in this team, with one of the reasons why they fired Mike Malone. Ready to find out? You'll never believe it. It was Russell Westbrook. Can you believe it? Can you believe it was Russell Westbrook? One of the big reasons why he got fired, because he was starting Westbrook too many minutes, legitimately. An actual report, on top of some stuff going on internally. But it is a bad situation now for the Nuggets. Though they just got a win. Yes, they did. It's a bad situation for going into the playoffs with an interim coach and with turmoil arisen everywhere in terms of what's going to be the state of this franchise moving forward, both with roster moves and with leadership. this could really drastically change how they perform in the playoffs this year. I would not be surprised now if we see the Nuggets get a first round exit, which is as insane as it may sound. It can legitimately be an opportunity due to the volatile moves, which is ridiculous. Also, they were saying that Mike Malone was thinking of shopping out Jamal Murray in the trade market, which is another reason why they gave him the axe. Again, all these different reports coming out as to the reasons as to why. Either way, the Nuggets are in a bad state from the standpoint of they are in essentially purgatory. This season and next season. This playoffs and beyond. It's like, I really think this is going to hit him hard. It's going to hit him bad. It's going to hit him very much in a situation, it's going to hit him where it hurts. And that's going to be consistency. Not just with them being injured throughout the year, but with consistency as a voice, it's going to hit him. Because you can say what you want about Mike Malone, but he got you a title. He got you still fourth in the West, like a very competitive West. He's kept you as one of the best teams in the West, in the entire NBA for upwards of the last 3 years. Every year, Jokic's MVP. Wasn't just because of Jokic's MVP caliber season. It was also because of the coaching. I can't deny. And the roster, but coaching, who kept that thing and made it work. So it's like, it's a shock. It really is a shock to us all. But let's have to see. Somebody else had put up something in the chat as a question. Let's see. Godzilla or King Kong? Godzilla or King Kong? For me, it's King Kong. But I know Godzilla will win, which is, I hate it. But I love King Kong. I'm sorry. He's just a brute. He's just a menace. He's just a dog. I'm sorry. He's just a dog. I know Godzilla's Godzilla. Atomic breath has been able to survive who knows what. It's incredibly strong. Has fought is literally the king of all kaijus. Genuinely. If you watch whether it's Shin Godzilla, whether it's Godzilla -1, the movie that came out, any iteration, it's a dog. They even fought with each other, splitting 1-1 in the movie, and ultimately Godzilla taking the last time, taking the rubber match, genuine. And it was like, dang it, shoot, I hated it. So I know Godzilla's gonna win, but doggone, I'm always gonna rock with Kong because I love King Kong. I love King Kong. He's one of my favorite monster characters. I always enjoyed him. The way he fights, the way he interacts, the way he can use terrain, it's cool to me. I'm sorry, it's just cool to me. And plus, hey, I love a character who can punch, like really crack. And King Kong can crack. So I'm like, I just love it. I love him. I just love him. I'm sorry, I can't get over it. I really do. And so I always go with King Kong, though I know he's gonna lose to Godzilla. I know it, but I can't get away from him. You know, it's like George Foreman and Joe Frazier. I know Joe Frazier is going to lose to George Foreman because it's just a bad built matchup. But doggone it, I just can't go. I can't do it because I just love Joe Frazier. I can't because I just love him. And so, let's see, as a master Donkey Kong fan, I got to get a hold of it. Yeah, I'm right with it. I'm a Donkey Kong fan myself, but I love King Kong, love Donkey Kong also. It's because, you know why? It's because they punch stuff. That's literally why. Atomic breath and all the stuff that we know Godzilla can do is great and all. But I just love somebody that just walks you down and just is willing to say, all right, let's go. Boom. I just love it. I'm sorry. It's just something visceral about it. Something so menacing. He's just got that dog in him. I'm sorry. That's the easiest thing I can say. That's the easiest thing that I can say about that. And so, as the Oscar Metcalf, bro, any thoughts? Now, I don't know what's going on with Austin Metcalf. Not really sure. Kind of. Actually, I have no clue what you're talking about. I'm being completely honest. I don't know. So I can't speak on it. I'm so sorry. If it's something that I should know, I apologize. But as of right now, I'm drawing a blank. So I have no clue what exactly this specific situation is that you're discussing. So I can't really speak on it because I don't know what the situation is. I'm not trying to be in a bubble. I'm trying to be as conscious as possible. But I'm just like, If I'm missing something, please tell me. And I'll get right on and try to learn it. But I'm not really sure exactly what's going on from that aspect of playing. And for this show, I'm kind of like, if it ain't sports or anything else, I try to be as well informed. But I may not be, like I said, I may not know some stuff. So I can't speak on certain stuff. Unless I'm just blanking. Unless I'm just blanking. Let me look it up, because I feel like this is something that I'm supposed to know. Let me look it up and see. Let me see. Is it something with DK Metcalf? It's something it's that. It's that situation. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Okay. Yeah. I completely blanked. But no, I know what you're talking about. That might be a little bit too dark for what we got going on for this show. Well, again, it's not a laughing matter. It's a very serious situation. Absolutely. No question. But for this show, that's a little outside of what we're trying to garner. Not because we devalue it or we just overlook it and say it doesn't matter. It does matter. However, for the confines of this show, that is not something that we want to discuss in the grand scheme. And with all due respect, absolutely, it's a terrible thing that's happened. New stuff has come to light that makes this whole situation completely different. Absolutely. However, for this show, that's not something that we want to have as one of the bigger talking points. Not because it's not important. No. But for the conversation that may bring for this show, while it's important to have it, no question. One, I'm still trying to sort through to make sure I'm on the right side of what in fact is or isn't the actual situation. So I'm not just jumping to conclusions for what is or who's at fault or whatever. So I'm still looking through that. But also for what we're trying to make as a how do we say this? For trying to be a show that's conscious but also not so heavy that it can bring stuff down. That may be a whole different conversation. So it may be a little too dark for what we got going on for this show. Yeah, they were athletes, absolutely. And so I at first I was blanking. Now I know that may be a little bit too dark for this show. Maybe a little too serious for the topic that would ultimately bring up for this specific show, at least at this point in time. And so that's why for now we hate that the situation happened. It's horrible. New information has come to light that I have to look into now to understand the full ramifications of why it happened. But for the time being, that'll be something that we won't touch on at this point in time. For at least for this show, at least for this episode specifically. And so it's still important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to overlook it. No question. But I need to make sure that I'm right in how this whole situation went down. And that may be a little bit too heavy for what we got going on right now for the show. So I can't, so that's in all reality, that's what it is. So that's why. But even still, if there's anything else that we can talk about, absolutely, I'm all for it. No question. And I'm down. Because we can still talk about NBA. We can still talk about the NFL coming in next year. Shedeur Sanders and the likes of Travis Hunter both had their workout along with Gentry and others. Who do you think is going to get picked where? All that stuff. Finals now are, the road to the NBA Finals now is indeed confirmed. And so it's like we're all down. We're trying to see if we can see SJ actually get to a championship game, or if we can see the likes of, actually, did I answer? Hold on, excuse me. Did I answer? Somebody had said something about SGA. It's like SGA is even, okay, no, he didn't ask a question about SGA. And so, yeah, and so, like, There is, we, with this, oh, shoot, hold on, time out. My voice is getting very, very scratchy. Shoot, hold on. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah. Who? Woo. My bad. My bad. My apologies. I'm so sorry. My voice is getting really, I was trying to hide it. I was trying to hide it. My voice is getting very, very scratchy, so I had to take something to drink. I tried to do it. I tried to power through it last episode when I needed something to drink, but I ain't doing that this time. No, no, sir. I ain't doing that this time. 'Cause that had me going through it. That had me absolutely in fits. But let's see. Ray Phoenix. Oh, wrestling. Yes, Ray Phoenix. He did make his debut with WWE. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? And now, is he in line to fight against Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania? I believe. Is it him, Penta, Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, and is it Kaiser? I think I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Might not be Kaiser that he's fighting against, or maybe he might be in that whole match. But regardless of which, Ray Phoenix finally is in WWE. And him and Penta together, oh, shoot, they're going to have some beautiful match. Again, he's fought all over the globe. He's fought in New Japan. He's fought in the likes of ROH. He fought in, was he in AEW? I think he was in AEW for a little bit. And he's phenomenal. The roster of luchadors is really becoming something serious. And I'm excited for it. I really am excited. And so I can't wait to see him in terms of on the biggest, greatest stage of them all. I'm definitely excited for it. And unless I got it wrong, then mind you, just as a disclaimer, this week's Raw, I hadn't gotten to see. So I'm trying to watch that after this show. But I'm gonna catch up with it so I can make sure I'm still on point. But if he is fighting there, I'm excited. I definitely am excited. And it was a great choice that they finally got him in a WWE ring. Because he had a matchups he can have. Oh gosh. Oh shoot. Imagine him versus Damian Priest. Shoot, him versus Gunther down the line potentially. Him versus the likes of Seth Rollins, if he moves up the ladder, he could be in the tag team. He could work with the LWO. He could be, if they turn him, and they turn him heel, he go against the LWO. Maybe make a whole other faction of his own. What if he joins the Judgment Day? Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying there's all these different possibilities that you could do with the likes of Ray Phoenix. And it can work. Because he's a multi-talented athlete and actor. I would love to see it. And I can't wait to see it. And I'm excited to see it. No question. Also, WrestleMania is right around the corner. And for those of you who are into wrestling, shoot, we now got the likes of Roman, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins all fighting at WrestleMania. Potentially, we could see Paul Heyman turn on Roman. Ooh-wee. And if that does take place, you want to talk about a whole situation where now CM Punk is calling in his favor. You got to be in my corner at WrestleMania now, not in the Tribal Chief's corner. And this could be a situation where, shoot, we see him actually turn on the brother. And if he does, oh my gosh, oh shoot, you want to talk about a conflict of interest. Dare I say, even though there's a bunch of turmoil that's coming in with the likes of Vince McMahon and others on that allegations. And Brock Lesnar is indeed on that whole allegation list. Hence why he ain't been back in WWE. Understandable. Absolutely. But hypothetically, if everything was like it was, and all of this stuff didn't go like it did with Vince and the whole lawsuit, and Brock being in that lawsuit, this would be a great situation so we could have, the battle for Paul, and Brock, Roman, CM Punk, and Seth all fighting in the ring. Whoever wins, they get Paul Heyman as a general manager. Like, that would be great. That would be phenomenal. That would be incredible if it was to be. But sadly, because we know what happened, it ain't happening. And it ain't doing what it needs to be. Sadly, the dream match is just a dream. Unless somehow we get Brock Lesnar coming back at WrestleMania, hypothetically. against all odds, literally against all odds, he comes back and they pull the trigger on that, most likely we ain't gonna get it. Regardless of which, this WrestleMania is indeed incredibly exciting and impactful, and I can't wait to see it. No question. But is there anything else that you all want to talk about? Jey Uso versus Gunther, if you still want to go in the wrestling world. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Do we think that John will get his 17th championship and be able to go and break Ric Flair's record now that he's a heel, now that he's despised across the globe? This, I'm not going to lie, I want him to win. I can't lie. I want him to win because I want to see what one last heel run, especially with this version of John Cena, would be for the WWE Universe, would be for wrestling as a whole. And I hope and pray that they implement the likes of Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt Six, and that whole storyline that Bray Wyatt started all the way back in WrestleMania 36 in the Firefly Funhouse match, where he peeled back the layers of everything that John Cena was and be who we know you can be, the monster that you're supposed to be. Now, with this, I hope they call back to that. I hope they call back. If they do, my gosh. My gosh, that'll be incredible. That'll be phenomenal. That would be absolutely stupendous if that was taking place. And I hope it does. Because my gosh, it would be stupid in the best way possible. And I'd love to see it. But again, anything else? We still got some time. We're at 2 hours 16. We can still go to 2 hours 30. Anything that people want to talk about. We can discuss more about the likes of the boxing regime. We can talk about whether or not we think Shakur Stevenson is truly worth the hype, if you want to, in the boxing world. We can talk about some dream matches that we have. Tyson versus Ali. Holyfield versus a prime Holyfield versus a prime George Foreman. Shoot, George Foreman versus Deontay Wilder. Foreman versus Tyson Fury. There's so many ways that we can go about this. Do we want to discuss whether or not we can see the likes of Inoue potentially move up to 135 down the line and actually be successful? Is that really his threshold? Could we see the likes of, Boots Ennis, with what we see about and what we talk about him as a outright incredible talent? Is the road that he said he wants to go through with 147, 154, 160, 168, is all of that actually possible for somebody like a Boots Ennis to be able to do, to be able to achieve, to be able to actually reach and get the threshold up? There's a bunch of different ways that we can talk about this from the standpoint of genuine intrigue. Because you have to understand, when it comes to, that's actually a great thing to talk about. When it comes to Boots, how far can he go? Because my honest limit for him right now would probably be 160. Most likely. If I was to be like the best that Boots can be, would probably be at 160. The best Boots that we would ever be able to see, most likely would be at 160 pounds. That would be my prime estimation for Boots. Because then weight drain would no longer be a factor. He would have all the power that he would need. And still, with just how he naturally is, would be cut, lean, clean, and genuinely fully fleshed out in every way. He will retain all of his athleticism. He would also retain, or not retain, he would garner even more power at his disposal. Now, strictly from a talent perspective, he could take it all the way up to 160 and be just fine and be a monster. Now, just like with Ryan Garcia, the only issue would be at 168, fighting around that Canelo weight class due to the defensive flaws that I see in his game. And at that point in time now, I don't think his chin will be able to carry him like it would be able to carry him all throughout the other divisions, if we see it still hold intact like we've seen it hold intact for this long. Again, Stanionis, we still have to wait and see. But regardless of which, let's say everything was like with Boots. And let's say everything with Boots right now was just as is. And we were good. We were okay. And nothing changed. and he beat Stanionis. And his chin was just as durable as we've ever seen it. I would say that would be able to take him up to 160. But then at 168, I would need to see him actually be defensively responsible at all times. Because then at that point, now I would be saying you are in a position to fail. Not because of your physical ability, but because now your physical ability is great. But now it can't take you that far anymore. That's what I would have to say. I would have to. And so, yeah, Boots is the big dude, no doubt. Yeah, we're excited for it. No question about it. We love it. We can't wait to see it. We're all excited for it. And like I said, yo, G Will, what's your boy? Oh, you off to work? You off to work, dang it. I forgot. People got work today. Shoot. Well, it is about 2:20. It's about 2:20. Great show. Hey, I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you listening. Leave a like if you haven't before you leave the stream. You're off to work. Be safe. Have fun at your job. Do the best that you can. And hey, make that money. Come back and do everything that you need to do. And enjoy the weekend as it goes through. Be safe, be blessed, and have a good time. And I think, we got, 10 minutes left. We can wrap it up because I did say 2 hours 30, and then we're going to be done. No question. I got to keep to my word, at least for the length of this stream. But let's see. Boots should fight Charlo, Spence. Boots should fight Charlo, Spence, Crawford, and Norman Jr. at 160 division. Or at 160. That division needs life. That division does need life. It does. It really is. Hey, you the man. Look, I appreciate it. Again, y'all are beautiful. Y'all are wonderful. Y'all help make this show as impactful as it can be. Whether it's 2 people, whether it's 10 people, whether it's 1,000, don't matter. All of you help make this show the best that it can be. And hey, we talk about a bunch of stuff on here. We talk about a lot of stuff on here. We talk about some heavy stuff. We talk about lighthearted stuff. We all have a voice. And we help together make this show the best that it can be. So thank you so much for being you and for tuning in and giving us your time, energy, effort, and genuine, enthusiasm. Everybody who's been here, everybody who's still here. And we appreciate it. No question about it. We really, really do. And it's because of you we're at where we are. And it's because of you all we're going to grow even better and bigger and stronger and faster than the globe has ever seen before. And it's all thanks to you and your support. But real quick, Rusty Cage, the 160 division indeed does need life. Because right now the biggest people is Janibek Ali Muhammad from the standpoint of like pizzazz and pop. Chavez has got his stock hurt. Adames should have gotten his stock raised, but he got what that fight was a draw against Chavez, when it should have been a win for him. So that kind of got the win taken out of his sails. Arizona Lara is still a champion. Oh, he's great. He's turned into a legitimate puncher since moving up the middleweight because of the fact that, he changed his style, got heavier, and went from using his feet to using his fist, and it's worked out flawlessly. But while it's deeper than we expect, it still feels very much top heavy and not nearly as widespread as we have with other divisions. If Boots did go up to 160, that would help change a lot of stuff. That would help with a lot of things. Because then from that point on, he could bring Charlo up to 160 from 154. He could bring the actual 160, Jamal Charlo, who's actually at 160, like I said before. He could fight him. He could potentially fight Bakwan Murtazali. If Bakwan decided to move up, he could fight, of course, Virgil Ortiz and others. And so, more so than 160 being kind of flat, the range of 154 to 160, similar to the range of 140 to 130, would be really entertaining to watch if Boots was in it. While we already see 154 as great and as very exciting, Boots would be that fighter that could kind of bridge the gap between those two divisions as like one person that kind of connects everybody. He was in conversations with Terrence Crawford and Virgil Ortiz. He's in conversations with Jamal Charlo at 160. And we can definitely see him fight against the likes of Eubanks and others. And so that he would be that one fighter that kind of brings that synergy, that bridge, that like throughway, that kind of helps paint the picture of why everybody from 160 to 154 all have a line to face off against each other, potentially. And so it would be, I hope it happens. I really do. Because if it does, oh, that'd be great. That'd be phenomenal. JL, it would be awesome if you could call some wrestling matches like boxing. And it's like that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I could call wrestling. And it's not because it's like, mind you, I've listened to Jim Ross, I've listened to Michael Cole, I've listened to Paul Heyman, I've listened to Gorilla Monsoon, I've even listened to Vince McMahon, though his name right now doesn't want to be named because of obvious reasons. But I've listened to all of them. And it's, to call a wrestling match is incredibly difficult, not because it's not entertaining, but like to really do a good job, you gotta be like on it. Like on it with moves, history, how moves got originated from, callback stuff from like 40 or 50 years ago. In some cases, it's a litany of legacy that gets, like, especially with like people like Jim Ross, who, in my opinion, is the best I've ever heard from commentary. And mind you, Jim Ross also called boxing matches. He called butterbean fights, not just the fall brawl, but he called like legitimate boxing matches in his career. I think he's also called a bunch of different. He's called some college football matches or college football games. He's called a bunch of different stuff. And he was at best with the wrestling world because what he did in the sports world, like with basketball and boxing, he was able to do it in wrestling, but with an even more eclectic type of knowledge to where it flowed even better. I mean, it was stupendous. Now, I would want to get to that level. And so to get to that level, that's hard. That's difficult. That's difficult. And sometimes the action can go so fast that I would be kind of like, oh, shoot. Oh, my gosh. And so, but it would be fun. It would be fun. I would now probably with some more practice, I'd be willing to do it. And so, but I think as a fan, I'm content. That's the one thing where I'm like, I think I'd be content. Now, if it comes to that, I can do it. And we get enough people in the audience that like wants that to happen. Hey, we'll see what the masses want and we'll make it happen. We'll see what we can do. But that's up to the public. Honestly, we would have to wait and see. Let's see. We just had some boxing guys go into the. Oh yeah, we did. We had Joe Tessitore. Joe Tessitore went into boxing. Joe Tessitore calling it for Raw. We had one of the ring announcers for Top Rank go into becoming a ring announcer for I think SmackDown, I believe. And so like it's working as a male, absolutely. So maybe it can work. Maybe it can work. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it could. Maybe I could do that. I think it's just because I'm too much of a fan. I'd probably be too biased. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be too biased. I'd be like, dang it, Dom. Why? How could you? How dare? I can't believe this. I'd be too emotional. You'd hear me. I'd blow up my voice. I would blow out my voice. If I was watching wrestling, I'd blow out my voice. I promise you. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I would blow out my voice if I went and tried to call wrestling, because I'd get lost in it. I would forget calling moves, forget calling action. I would just be screaming. You would probably see me leave the camera and go through and like yelling at my TV. Like you would just see an empty chair and me like yelling all from off screen. Be like, no, yes, no, that was a 3. Ref, what are you doing? How could you? It'll be ridiculous. It'll be pandemonium. I promise you. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. It will be pandemonium. But I think, let me make sure that we got the time for this show, so I'm not going So I'm not going off my rocker when it comes to the thing we are at. Oh, we right on the dot. 2:30. Yep, we right on the dot. Just about 2:30. Oh, and let's see. Elijah Garcia got gift. Oh, wait. Did I miss that fight? Did he? Oh, dang it. Did Elijah Garcia fight last week? Ah, shoot. Dang it. Don't tell me I missed it. Don't tell me I missed it. Did I miss that fight? Okay, thank gosh. Okay, whew. I thought. I got scared that I missed that fight. Did I miss that fight? Okay, no, I didn't. Okay, good. Thank gosh. I assume you're talking about Ryan Garcia or Elijah Garcia, the boxer. I assume you are. Almost forgot I missed that fight. No, he does have gift. He's got a good gift. Unless is there Elijah Garcia commentator? Is there an Elijah Garcia commentator? Let's see. Hold on. Yeah. Let me see. Unless I'm talking about, I'm trying not to be. Okay, yep, we are talking. Okay, yeah, just had to make sure. Doggone it, I got scared for a second. I thought I missed something. But regardless of which, I think we're about to wrap it up. I think we got everything that we need. I think we're good to go. And I think we can call it. That's about, we at the 2 hour, 30-minute mark. We ain't going over like we did last time. So we about to get out of here. This has been a phenomenal show. I love it. I love you all. This has been great. Leave a like on the stream before you leave. And with all that being said, hey, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, John Luke Welch, right here on YouTube and every podcast platform imaginable. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening on this Thursday. We've had a blast. We've had a great show. We've had a dynamic and very intentional conversations. Leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Share the show with everybody that you can. Before we get out of here, we are, again, building and growing, turning into a phenomenal conglomerate, all thanks to you and your support. Hopefully I kept you entertained. Hopefully I made this a blast for you all. We're going to keep talking about sports, the NBA, basketball, boxing, all that and more right here on The Welch Report every Tuesday and Thursday. Don't forget, we also, when I can, call fights on the weekend. We're going to put out a poll whether or not we call a fight for Boots versus Stanionis. After this show, I've been John Luke Welch. Y'all are wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. And we will see you all on next week. Absolutely. And also, if you want me to call Boots versus Stanionis, hey, put in the chat. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can make it happen. I don't know what time zone we're in, so I might either be behind or in front of your stream, depending on where you're watching it. But I'll do it. If y'all want me to do it this weekend, we can make it happen. I'm all up for it. Just give me the word. Give me the go ahead. And if y'all want to make it happen, we'll make it happen. I'll probably put out a poll on it. And hey, I'm down for it. If y'all are down for it. And if that's the case, then I'll see you all on Saturday. But if not, I'll see y'all next week. Be safe. Be blessed. Have fun. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the fights. And we will see you all next time. Peace and love. We are gone.